Okay, so this is part 3 in my percent composition videos, and this time I'm gonna find the percent composition of each element in ammonium sulfide. And step 1 says write the chemical equation. Okay. Step 2 says look up the masses of each element. So in this case, nitrogen equals 14.0067 grams per mole. Hydrogen equals 1.0079 grams per mole. And sulfur is 32.065 grams per mole. Okay. Now it says multiply mass by quantity of each element. And at this point, you should reference your chemical equation. And in doing so, you see that there's a 2 multiplying into each element inside the parentheses. So we have 1 nitrogen inside the parentheses being multiplied by 2. So now you have 2 nitrogens. And then you have 4 hydrogens inside the parentheses being multiplied by 2. So you have 8 hydrogens. And then outside of the parentheses, you have 1 sulfur. So now the new masses would be 28.0134 grams per mole for nitrogen, 8.0632 grams per mole for hydrogen, and for sulfur, it's 32.065 grams per mole. And the next step says sum all the masses. So when you do that, you end up with 68.1416 grams per mole. Step 5 says set up a proportion equation. And when you think proportion, you should think part to whole. So I'm going to set up a part to whole ratio. So our part, or our whole, is the sum of all the masses. That's the mass of this entire compound. So that's 68.1416 grams per mole. And the part, well, this time we're going to find the percent composition of nitrogen in ammonium sulfide. So we're going to write 28.0134 grams per mole as the mass, and in percent, well, the entire mass is 100% of the compound, so we're going to write 100. And we don't know what 28.0134 represents in percentage, so that's our unknown we're looking for. We're going to write X. So now we have our proportion equation, and we're going to cross multiply first, and that's going to give us 2,801.34, which equals 68.1416x. Division will get x by itself. And you find that x equals 41.1%. And that represents the percent of nitrogen in ammonium sulfide. So step 7 says repeat for each element. and nothing will change from here on out. So we'll find our part to whole ratio, and the whole's not going to change. That's 68.1416 grams per mole. And this time the part is going to be hydrogen, and that's 8.0632 grams per mole. And that equals, well, you know the whole is 100%. And then we're looking for the part in percentage that hydrogen takes up. And we're going to set that unknown equal to y. So now cross multiply, and you'll get 806.32 equals 68.1416 y. Division will get y alone. And I found that y equals 11.8%. And that represents the percentage of hydrogen in ammonium sulfide. So now same process for the last one, sulfur, part to whole ratio, with the whole being 68.1416 grams per mole, and sulfur being 32.065 grams per mole. Now for the whole, that's 100%, and 32.065 represents the part of the whole, and we're going to set that equal to Z. So now after cross multiplication, you get 3,206.5 equals 68.1416 Z. Division will get Z by itself. And you'll find that Z equals 47.1%. And that represents how much sulfur is in ammonium sulfide. And that's it. One more step. You should always add your percentages together to make sure they come up to 100%. And indeed, these three do. And that's all for my percent composition. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.